You've been told to just manage your symptoms. But what if your problem is hiding below the surface? Welcome to Root Cause Wellness.
Look, we're not just talking about being a little less tired here. We're talking about unlocking a level of mental performance you might not even think is possible anymore, especially without chugging stimulants. This is about wiping that slate clean, getting rid of that cognitive haze, starting right now. I mean, you know the feeling, right? It's 2 in the afternoon. You've still got mission-critical stuff to do, but your brain feels like it's wading through thick mud. You're just staring at your screen, maybe reading the same email for the 4th time, and what's our first instinct? To reach for that 3rd cup of coffee, just praying that this time it'll actually work. So we grab that coffee and we tell ourselves it's for focus, for energy, for mental clarity. But let's be honest, what do we usually get instead? A spike of anxiety, those lovely jitters, and then the inevitable, soul-crushing crash that leaves us feeling even worse, even foggier than before. It's this vicious cycle that keeps you chained to a stimulant just to feel baseline normal. But what if I told you that that entire frustrating cycle is built on a complete lie? You think you need another shot of espresso to cut through that fog, but the truth is, your brain isn't starving for more caffeine. It's starving for a completely different and way more powerful type of fuel. All right, so this is where things get really interesting. We're going to pivot from the problem to the real solution. We're about to dive into this different kind of fuel. It's like a biological secret weapon that your own body already knows how to make. Okay, let's just cut right to the chase. Brain fog. It isn't a moral failing. It's not about a lack of willpower. When you get right down to it, at its very core, it's a fuel problem. Simple as that. The energy source your brain is trying to run on just isn't getting the job done. So allow me to introduce you to the hero of our story, ketone bodies. And specifically, we're going to talk about one called beta-hydroxybutyrate. Let's just call it BHB. When your body flips the switch from burning sugar to burning fat for energy, it produces these amazing little molecules. And trust me, this isn't just some backup fuel, it's a full-on high-performance upgrade. The best way to really get this is with an analogy. Think of glucose, from carbs and sugar, as being like cheap, dirty-burning coal. Sure, it'll give you these quick sparks of energy, but it produces a lot of smoke and gunk along the way. Ketones, on the other hand, that's like high-grade, clean-burning rocket fuel. It's potent, it's incredibly efficient, and it's clean. Now, to understand why this rocket fuel is so incredibly effective, you have to know about your brain's personal security detail, the blood-brain barrier. Seriously, just picture the toughest bouncer at the most exclusive club in the world. It's this super selective gateway, and pretty much nothing gets past it without being on the VIP list. And this is the secret hack. Ketones, they're on the list. They have an all-access VIP backstage pass. They don't have to wait in line, they don't get frisked at the door, they just waltz right across that barrier and deliver that high-grade rocket fuel directly to your brain cells way faster and more efficiently than glucose could ever dream of. Okay, so this rocket fuel gets into the brain. Then what happens? Well, that brings us to the first massive benefit, what I call the high-efficiency upgrade. See, it's not just about getting fuel to your brain, it's about the quality of that fuel. I mean, just take a look at this. For every single unit of oxygen your brain uses, it can squeeze out so much more energy from ketones than it can from glucose. It's like upgrading your car's engine to get way more miles per gallon. This means you have more mental horsepower to tackle complex problems, and it takes less effort to do it. And this isn't just some vague idea. We can actually put a number on it. Running on ketones can give your brain up to 38% more ATP, which is the basic energy currency of your cells, than running on glucose. I mean, think about that. That's not a small adjustment. That is a massive power boost. So what does a 38% power boost feel like? Well, it's not the jittery, anxious buzz you get from caffeine. Not at all. It's this feeling of clean, almost euphoric, hyper-focused energy. You're just on. Your thoughts are clear. And because it's such an efficient fuel, there's no smoke, no gunk left over, and that means no crash. But wait, because providing better fuel, that's only half the story, seriously. The second, and maybe even more important benefit, is how ketones act like a firefighter inside your head. They literally put out the very inflammation that's causing the brain fog in the first place. You know that heavy, foggy feeling, that mental sludge you feel at 2 p.m.? That isn't just your brain being tired. It's actually a sign of a low-grade fire, a process called neuroinflammation. It's like your brain's immune system is stuck in this state of constant, low-level panic. So, deep inside your brain, you've got this sort of master switch for inflammation. And when things like stress or a bad diet flip this switch on, it sets off this whole chain reaction of inflammatory signals that basically gunk up your brain cells, and that's what creates that foggy, slow feeling. And here is where ketones perform their second magic trick. They don't just add fuel, they actively march in there and flip that master inflammation switch right back to off. They act as this incredibly potent anti-inflammatory, just calming the whole system down so your brain can finally breathe and think clearly. Okay, but what about the long game? This is where it gets even crazier. Inside every single one of your brain cells, you have these tiny little engines. They're called mitochondria. And these are the powerhouses that actually turn fuel, whether it's coal or rocket fuel, into the energy your brain needs to do everything. Now get ready for this, because this is wild. Using ketones doesn't just make your current mitochondria run better. Over time, running on BHB actually tells your brain cells to build more of these little powerhouses. You are literally expanding your brain's total capacity to generate energy. It's like adding more and more engines to your system over time. All right, so the science is undeniable. Better fuel, less inflammation, and a bigger overall engine. But the big question is, how do you actually do this? How do you get this working for you? Like today. Let's get right into the action plan. So you basically have two ways to do this. The first is the long-term, sustainable strategy, intermittent fasting. Just by creating a bigger gap between your last meal of the day and your first meal the next morning, you gently push your body to start burning fat and producing its own ketones. But what if you need that brain fog gone right now? For that, there is an instant hack, MCT oil. And the reason MCT oil is like a cheat code is because of how it works. These special fats, medium-chain triglycerides, they pretty much skip the normal digestive process. They get absorbed super fast, they go right to your liver, and they get converted almost instantly into ketones. It is the fastest possible way to inject that rocket fuel straight into your brain exactly when you need it most. So really, it all comes down to this one simple idea. The solution to your afternoon crash and your constant brain fog, it isn't another stimulant. That's just putting a patch on a leaky tire. What you actually need, what your brain is crying out for, is a fundamental upgrade. Look, your body already has all the biological machinery it needs to experience a level of focus and clarity that feels absolutely effortless. Your brain's true potential is just sitting there, waiting for you to give it the right kind of fuel. So the only question left is, are you ready to unlock it?
Remember, true health is about getting to the underlying root cause, not just managing your symptoms with a label and a pill.